In this video, we're going to be adding our Add Note button to our action bar in our main activity list fragment. So let me show you visually what I mean. I'm going to pull open our emulator here. Essentially what we want to do is we just want to display an Add Note button right beside these three little dots to the right here. So essentially the way we're going to do that is we just got to modify the menu associated with our action bar, right? So when we modify that menu, it will display, our Add Note button, and then it will display, when we click on this, our settings item, right? So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to go into our menu main. That is the menu associated with our action bar or our toolbar, and we're going to open that up. So the way we're going to add that button is we're going to add a new item, right? We're going to go here. And actually, before we do that, let me just point this out. You'll notice that here is our settings item already in place here. It says item, and then we have for the title, settings, right? So that's why we actually see this settings item when we click on our action bar settings button, right? So we're going to minimize this, and now we're going to add that Add Note button. We're going to say item, Android ID, right? First things first, we want to define an ID so that we can get a reference to this button later on in code. We're going to say ID, and we're going to just say action add note as the ID, right? Great. So now we're going to define the order in the category, right? An order in category attribute essentially says, the lower the number, the further left in our action bar menu this will be. The higher the number, the further right? So if we had a bunch of different items with different numbers, it would go lowest number, further left, highest number, furthest right. Great. So I'm going to say, that being said, I'm going to say this is 1, right? This is going to be displayed furthest left. And the reason I'm saying 1 is because, as I said, I want that Add Note to be displayed to the left as a button in our menu here. Great. So now we're going to add the actual title. We're going to input Android title, and then we are going to say @string. And now we actually have to add the title to our string value file, right? So we're going to open that up and do just that. We're going to go just above this item here, which is just that settings item in our action bar menu. And we are going to add our new Add Note title, right? Or our Add Note string. So we're going to say string name is equal to action add note. And we're going to say Add Note for the actual string, right? Great. Now let's actually comment this out so it looks a little cleaner. We're just going to say main menu titles, right? And then we're going to just close that up. And now we need one more here. And now we can go ahead and access this action add note, right? So we're going to go back to our menu main. We're going to say @string/action add note. And so far, we're looking good. We just need to add one more attribute, and that is our show as action attribute, right? That's kind of our magic sauce that makes it come up as a button, right? So we're going to say app show as action is equal to if room, right? And this if room attribute essentially says, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at all the items in your menu. And whatever items have the lowest order in category, and they have this if room tag, I'm going to display them as a button, right? So it's saying, if there's room and you're high enough up in our order and category, I'm going to display this particular item as a button in that action bar or toolbar, right? So whenever we have the if room, that's what it's going to say. It's going to say if room, then check the order and category. Now if we have space, add it as a button, right? We can also have a never as a value for this particular attribute. And what's that saying is it doesn't matter the order in the category, never display it as a button, right? Always display it as an item in our menu, right? So those are two values we could give it. We could also give it always, but Android prefers that we don't use always. It says right here, prefer that you use if room, right? So that's why we're doing it that way. Great. So that being said, let's go ahead and run this application now that we've added this new item and see if we actually have that new button up at the top. So I'm going to pull open the emulator, and hopefully, like I said, we'll see that button. And there we have it, right? It says Add Note, And if we click on these three little dots, it also says settings. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.